I'm Bruce Whiting.
And I'm Cameron Hobbs.
We're with Electrostatic Spraying Systems. This is not intended to be this real slick video, but what it's intended to be is a conversation between us and some of our users, clients, those that sell our equipment. See if we can help you a little bit with some of the models so that you understand them a little bit better. We're glad to be with you today. We build electrostatic sprayers. That's what we do. We take a little tiny droplet, make little tiny droplets, about 900 of them out of one, put electrostatic charge on those droplets so that they stick to whatever we aim them towards, and coat that with some sort of water-based solution. We spray water-based solutions. But today, we would like to give you an overview of one of our most popular sprayers. This is called an SC ET HD. The SC stands for suitcase. We put it in a suitcase. It's a Pelican case, a very durable case, but we call it a suitcase sprayer. The ET stands for electrostatics, and the T stands for tank, and we'll talk to you about the tank in just a minute. The HD stands for the heavy duty, and Cam's going to tell you a little bit about. But we'll start by, there's three different components to this sprayer. There's the base unit, there's the hose, and there's the spray gun. And so we'll treat each component so that you can learn about them. We'll start with the suitcase itself, and this is our base unit. I'll let Cam start with that, and he can tell you a little bit about the basics.
So like Bruce said, in all of our sprayers, especially the ET, you can get it at 110 power or you can get it at 220. And about the only difference is the compressor and the cord that supplies the electricity to the sprayer. So if you open up the sprayer, you'll see inside that here's the tank that Bruce referenced. So this tank does not come out, it's fixed into there. There's a cap on top here of the tank that allows you to fill up the tank with the liquid that you are spraying. Just remember that the cap is vented since we're siphoning liquid out of the tank. So if you have liquid in it and you lay it down, it will potentially leak out of the cap, but that is normal. Also on the tank, so you know, there's a fitting here that allows you to drain the tank. So since you can't take the tank out, this fitting allows you to drain the tank if you don't spray all the liquid out of it when you're using it. As you can see, the tank, or the sprayer itself, weighs about 40 pounds. The tank is a gallon, a little bit more than a gallon that it will hold. So it's easy to pretty much lift up and move around in various applications, if you're putting it in your car, things like that. So a lot of our customers like to use it because it's easier to move it around in a vehicle to spray from site to site. And
the case is very, very durable. And so if you have to throw it in the back of a pickup or in the trunk, it'll take a pretty good beating. Also, its weight is under 50 pounds, so if need be, you can check it on an airplane and take it with you.
Yep. So here's the cord. It's got a spot right here for the cord to store it, but then you put it in on the side over here. There's a switch on the side of the case here that you put the cord into, and then you just turn it on. Nothing else other than that. It's just a standard cord that just plugs into 110. Here you see the two outlets for the hose. This is where you plug the hose into.
We'll tell you about connecting the hose in just a minute, but these two vents, maybe you can tell them about that.
Yeah, these two vents allow air to come in and blow across the compressor to keep it cool. So compressed air heats up over time. So we have a fan in there, and we also have a little heat exchanger, which actually cools the air down as it comes out of the compressor. So
yeah, this right here, that's our compressor. That compressor is, this one is a 110, but you could get that in 220 also.
So these are the main components in this system. Like I said, it's pretty simple. Just electricity coming in and feeding the compressor. We're feeding electricity to the fan also to keep the air cool as it goes into the hose. This compressor does get hot, so that is normal. And here's the filter for the compressor to bring in air also. And
This section right here is for your hose, and it'll fit nicely. You get I will tell you about this hose, but that's what that's for, is to put your hose in there. Also, Cam, maybe you could show them the clip in the door there.
You can clip the gun, that way the gun can be stored away when you're putting it into a vehicle, things like that.
These are plastic clips, and so when you receive your sprayer, the spray gun will not be in those clips because they have a tendency to break at times, so you'll need to be a little careful with those. Also in the door here, you'll see that we gave you some troubleshooting tips, and if you'll follow those, if you have any problems, hopefully that'll help you with whatever problem you might have. And if that doesn't work, just give us a call or refer to your manual. Let's see, do we have anything else here, Cam? This is on wheels, and it has a handle, so the handle comes up, and there's wheels, so you can just wheel it along just like you would a suitcase. And that makes it very easy to move around, and like we say, it's very, very durable. It has handles both on top and on the side.
And the last thing I think we just wanted to make mention of is you can see the little chain down here. That chain is just to help us be grounded to the ground and to the earth. So just
leave that chain hanging out and have it touch the ground. That's the way we get the charge on the droplets. Now we'd like to tell you a little bit more about the second component, which is our hose. It's a twin line hose. It has connections both for the case and for the spray gun, and you can't get it wrong because there's 4 different types of connections. On this end, it snaps right into the case. That's your air, that's your liquid, and you're connected right there to the case. And then on the other end, Cam will show you we have
connect to the hose. Same thing, air and liquid.
Just so you know, these hoses are made specifically for us, and it's called a conductive hose. And so the hose has part of the hose so that literally we can put a charge on the droplet. So it's not just any old hose. These are our special hoses for electrostatic spraying. And so the hose is 15 feet long. It connects to the case, it connects to the gun. Maybe Cam could tell you about the gun a little bit now.
And just so you know, on the hose here, the flow restrictor, or that's how we determine how much liquid comes out the gun, is this fitting right there on the back end of this quick connect. So if you ever have any problems with clogging, that's where you would locate the flow restrictor, or the hole that restricts the amount of liquid we put through the gun.
And this unit particularly sprays at about 100 milliliters per minute. So pretty standard for you can move it up and down just a little bit if you need us to, but it'll spray at about 100 milliliters per minute, which equates to about a gallon an hour, if you want to kind of rough terms.
So here's the spray gun. Here's our nozzle. At the end of the spray gun, it can be taken apart. We call this the nozzle cover, and this is the base of our nozzle. Sometimes you can open this up and see if there's anything clogged. Just take note of that. You can buy this as a replacement part. It is normal when you turn the sprayer on. The air will always be exhausting out of the spray gun, so that is normal.
Yeah, until you squeeze that trigger, it'll just be air coming out, but that's normal.
Yeah. And then here, the trigger, like Bruce said, is what is going to let the liquid come out of the gun. So when you pull the trigger, liquid will come out of the gun. There's a little trigger pawl here that keeps it keeps the trigger always. What do you call it? So you don't have to pull it.
Keeps it open. Keeps it open.
Here's the charging port for the batteries. Underneath this cover here, these 2 screws, there's 2 9-volt batteries. Here's the charging port, so you can charge your spray gun without taking the batteries out. The batteries take about 4 to 5 hours to charge, so we suggest most of the time just charge it at night if you're going to use it the next day. And it will last the batteries about 6 hours of continuous use if you're pulling the trigger and spraying continuously. before you have to recharge those batteries.
Yeah, these are lithium batteries, and inside here, a couple of them, high-quality lithium batteries, but if by chance, and this would never happen to any of you, if you forgot to charge your batteries, just get a couple of regular batteries, and you can swap them out, but just make sure you don't try to charge it until you put the lithium back in. But in any case, you could use just regular 9-volt batteries, 2 of them, in a jam. So feel free to do that if you had to.
And many customers do that because they last anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks, so you don't have to worry about charging again. So we have many customers that do that. So.
Maybe you could comment about the brass.
Yeah, so part of the trigger here is, this is the nut that goes on the trigger. If you open this up, you'll see a plunger in there, and that's what closes the liquid and opens the liquid up. At times, even if you're spraying a very non-toxic chemical, things still tend to stick. There's O-rings in there. So that is a replacement part that you can take this knob off and replace that plunger if you're having any troubles. Sometimes the plunger will stay closed, so it won't let liquid come out. Sometimes the plunger stays open where it won't close and turn off the liquid. So it could go either way, potentially if you have a problem. But that's where you would open it up and change out that plunger inside that trigger mechanism, which is fairly something easy to do on site and not have to send it back to us.
Another thing that you might be aware of is at times someone will want to spray something that's a little bit acidic, and you can order the sprayer with stainless steel fittings, which are a little more expensive but a little more durable if you need to spray something that's a little more toxic or a little more acidic. So this right here today we're just showing you with the standard brass fittings, but you can order it with stainless steel fittings. Also, depending on what you're spraying, up here on top there's some warning labels. You need to make sure and be safe in your spraying. These are tiny droplets. If you're spraying something that it has warnings on it, then you'll want to use a mask or a respirator and goggles to protect your eyes.
So cleaning, we talked a little bit about cleaning as we demonstrated the sprayer, but just so you know that as far as the air goes, it's just the filter on the front of the compressor is what you need to worry about with that. You'll see dust and a little bit of lint build up on here if you'll blow those off from time to time to make sure you're getting good airflow. The other thing is that liquid is usually where you have a problem for cleaning. After you use the sprayer, if you'll just flush it out with a little bit of warm water, at times if you add detergent to it too, that will help just make sure everything stays clean. And when we say that, go ahead and put something in the tank and spray it out for about a minute or 2 to allow it to go ahead and siphon all the way through the hose and the gun. So remember, we're spraying only 100 milliliters a minute, so therefore it's going to take about 1 to 2 minutes of holding the trigger down to get the liquid to go all the way through. So just take a note of that. The points where liquid could be stuck, we talked about the flow restrictor right there. The liquid could be stuck there. The hole is very small, so there's potential that could be stuck. After that, you would go back to the fitting here on the the case. That fitting is very small. It has an O-ring in there. Potentially at times this fitting right there on the case will stick. Not this one, but the one on the case will stick. And then after that, it's the trigger. So those are the 3 areas where liquid is being stopped and then let pass through between O-rings and between different types of connections. So those are the 3 areas where if you're having liquid problems that you can look at.
If by chance you do have any spraying troubles, make sure everything's hooked up. This is one of the tricks that really helps in lots of situations. If your spray is sputtering or if it's not spraying very well, pull the trigger so that you're spraying liquid and air, and then take your finger and put it over the end of the nozzle, which will allow the air will not leave the gun, but rather it'll be forced back through the sprayer, through the spray gun into the sprayer, and then a lot of times that will clean out whatever might be obstructing the flow of the liquid. So just know that pull that trigger, put your finger over that, and push that air back through there, and that'll help you clean out the system.
I think the last thing we want to talk about was the wand and technique.
Yeah, this is sometimes called a spray gun, sometimes it's called a spray wand. And the reason we call it a wand is because we use a wanding motion is the way we spray. We put a very light coating on whatever we spray. We don't, and some people, even after they're spraying, they don't think that they've coated it. So what we recommend you do when you're trying to learn how to use this piece of equipment is fill it with water and go find a mirror or a window and spray that window. What we call it is the hatch motion. You hatch, you go back and forth and then up and down, and watch that mirror or window fog up, and you can literally see the particles attached to the mirror window, but they don't run. They just stick to it, but you can see that it's getting the surface moist and coated. Then, when you go to whatever you're going to spray, a wall or a piece of equipment or a home or whatever, if you follow that same technique, you know that you're coating it, but even though you can't see it with the naked eye, if you're spraying properly with our sprayer, you're going to coat it, it's going to be a nice even coating, and it's not going to run. It's difficult to see if you do it properly, because you're not trying to put a lot of moisture on there and have it run and drip.
Yeah, so just remember too, you want to be about 3 to 5 feet, depending on what you're spraying, away from your target. So if you're too close, the air's gonna hit and just bounce off the wall or your target. But if you're further away, it allows the droplets to slow down and coat and wrap around whatever you're spraying. So just remember that.
Yeah, a lot of people make that mistake of you can't see it, so you try to get closer. You get down to that 12 inches to 18 inches and you'll literally stripe it rather than coat it with a nice even spray coating. Think in terms of what you're doing is you're kind of painting it with a water-based solution. If you think about how you spray paint things, we're going to paint it. We're not going to be really close and hit hard on your target. Well, we hope you have really good success with your sprayer. If you have any questions, we're really good at answering emails or give us a call. Thank you. Enjoy your sprayer. Hope you have good success with it.